Should be open, Bruce. Did you try it? I know, I didn't expect it to be open either, but I put the signs up just in case they locked it up, because we don't have the ability to do that. Okay, all right.
See which one's right.
Bring up my meter.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I parked over at Busey.
Good deal. Nice.
I took over the transit, because you can, the last two rows by the
Just came
road,
apart.
you can park free
Oh,
after 5.
oh, I didn't know that.
Here you go.
Yeah, I was at Tokyo till after 5, sat there.
No, I'm one of those people who lingers in coffee shops, the hipster type.
I'm there all the time.
At Toby,
Yeah.
it's a good spot to hang out.
It is.
Especially when it's warm.
Mhm.
Outside, people watch.
And
And they have the music on Friday nights down there, usually like Memorial Day weekend.
We got 33 minutes on the meter, so when that's up, gonna have to plug it. Number 19.
Okay, for those who are interested, I have a wireless passcode. Anybody want it? Okay, it is the network is, hold on, let me get it right.
Netgear 82?
Netgear 82,
Well, it's all over it.
I already gave it to him.
Oh,
Password Rocky Earth 2, all lowercase, numeral 2.
Rocky
Earth.
Earth.
this is free Wi-Fi.
Local Wi-Fi connection.
Thank you.
Hold on, Jimmy.
What? Netgear?
Netgear 82,
Local Wi-Fi connection.
Rocky Earth 2. David Gill is a great guest, Al. Al,
What?
David Gill is a great guest.
Yeah, he is.
Is that tomorrow, Wednesday night
Wednesday
he's
night.
coming?
Yeah.
He actually caught me outside the library the other day and got me to sign his petition.
Wasn't my petition, it was David's petition.
Right, it was David's petition.
Yeah.
David found me outside the library.
They only need 9,000 signatures to become independent. And about 1,200 if you're a Democrat or Republican. They make it easy for third parties.
It's reason for that, of course.
Good old political system.
Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Sounds like a
7:05, I'm sure Sandra will be up here any minute, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. So, do we need introductions? Okay, yeah, not many people know ladies, so why don't we, yeah.
I just want to note that I was being the recording and stuff, so that and everyone's on the same page on this, okay?
Not yet,
It's the public open part of the
Yeah,
meeting.
she can.
yeah?
So I just want to make
Okay.
sure that everyone definitely knows
Under
right
the
now.
open
Okay,
meeting-
make
under the
sure
open
you let
meetings,
Sandra
as
know
long-
when she
As long
gets
as
in.
we can set parameters
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, we'll have
She
that
has the
discussion
right to-
later.
She has
Okay.
the right to do that,
Okay.
unless we decide to do our own and then broadcast.
Okay, fine. So, introduction.
I was also adding that streaming as well to the YouTube channel.
Wherever it goes.
Okay, so I'm posting something to the WEFT groups O and A just to let folks know. So before you send that, I just want to make sure it's okay with everyone.
It is with me.
You can put your hand
No
down.
objection.
Oh, well,
Nobody has a gun at your head.
No, I just meant before anyone started, 'cause in case I didn't want to do
Okay.
this. Okay.
I just want to say it's okay.
I'm Vicki. Barb, go ahead.
I'm Barb.
John.
Are you handing out butterfingers?
No, I didn't,
I was just curious.
Andy,
but they got wet.
Robert Guttenberg. Andrew Cardinal.
Outbursts.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And you know Bruce,
I know
I'm
Bruce,
sure.
Yeah, I'm Lainey. Nice to
You want to
meet
tell the board a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm obviously the new services coordinator. I've been here just about a month now. I'm from Champaign, born and raised. I went to Macomb for my undergrad, came back to U of I for my master's. I worked in the vet industry for quite a while, stayed home with my babies. Came back to where my master's led me, and I'm loving this opportunity.
And because, you know, things are really nice and neat and organized, a lot of that's because of Lainey. She's been working really hard at it.
And really showing up at a lot of community meetings and stuff. I'd like to commend her for that. I've seen her face in a lot of places.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone I think knows Megan, yes? Okay. So between the two of them, we're really fortunate because they're able to spread their hours a little bit. So Lainey's working some of the later shifts, Megan's doing the early stuff, and then we got Bruce filling in the blanks. So a lot more coverage than we're used to having around the station for like a long, long time. That's wonderful. Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda. You might want to take a look at it. We did make some late changes.
So moved.
Thank you, Al. Second?
Second.
Was that Robert?
Sure.
Okay. Any additions or changes? I think the stuff that you want to look at is on the second page under old business and new business. Is there anything you can think of that needs to change that? All right, then I'll entertain a vote then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, any public comment? Bruce?
No problem.
Ladies? No?
You know,
Nothing?
can I say something, Vicki?
Sure.
I mean, and I want to talk to all the board about this. I know you've been trying to get people here. Others been trying to get people here. You hear about it on WEFT, some people's got criticism, but you never see them here. They never show up to actually talk to us face to face and try and get things straightened out. And to me, I think that's bad policy. All right? They shouldn't be writing anything on WEFT that they can't say to us directly here. And they should try it because they know we make this public and this is open to everyone, and they don't show up. Okay?
I will say that there have been in the past several people who've shown up on a regular basis, and they've either made their point or not been satisfied, and finally they just gave up because they just don't feel like they're being listened to.
Join the board. There's open seats.
There
Lots
are
of-
people who are doing a lot of work, but they don't have time or the desire to be on the board. But there are people who do have opinions, and they feel like they give their opinions, and their opinions are not listened to.
Well, the point is that they give their opinion. If their opinion doesn't coincide with what the board's doing, you know, maybe they should keep trying.
Yeah.
The point is that we can't always take what the opinions are and make it policy unless we feel that there's a majority of the board who wishes to do it.
You know, in the past, it was always a fear of a prior station manager and board that if you listen to people's opinions, that you have to do whatever it is they're suggesting, and that's not the nature of expressing an opinion. That starts a discussion, for sure, but, yeah.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? All right, then I need a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Those are on page 3 and 4.
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, John, second by Barb. Any discussion, changes there? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the board chair report. I don't really have a lot of stuff to report here, but I'm going to vamp a little bit
Do we have any
until...
public comment or any?
Yeah, we asked for public comment. There wasn't any. we had interviews for that 10-hour underwriting position, and we had one person that we kind of thought might do a good job, but we didn't actually move to hire him yet. We were wanting to get the word out to WEFTies and see if anybody at WEFT was interested in doing it, and as far as I know, nobody stepped up to do that. So I think probably within the next week, we'll probably make some movement on that. The guy that we're thinking about hiring works here in downtown Champaign and works full-time, and so an additional 10 hours for him really seems to be a good fit.
What's he do, if I may ask?
He's a server at the Black Dog, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
Schmoozers.
Yeah, so he runs into a lot of people just naturally with his job. So, and he works a lot of evenings, so daytime hours will be mainly free for him. Hey, just in time. How are you? We've been through the introductions, the agenda, the public comment, approval of the minutes, and we are at the board chair report. And I was just kind of filling them in on the interviews that we had for the underwriting assistant. So I don't know where we are with that. Did we ever get any more
We already
resumes?
checked, no, we did not.
Okay.
We're ready to hire him. Megan just did the second interview with him.
Oh, did you? Okay. Okay, great.
Sorry, I was testing the screen. If you want to tell Sandra.
Yes, I already announced earlier, it is consent that streaming and recording. And I already posted the message line to the WEFT O&A to let them have the link to what we're streaming.
Yeah, and we'll have some discussion on that later. So, do we have anything from the RRT other than that, Sandra?
So, I don't know if we would be under the RRT necessarily, Alan.
He just walked out to take a call. He'll be back.
Yeah. So, do we have the podcast anywhere in the agenda?
No, you can cover that now.
Okay. So we are coming right along with the podcast. We have a WEFT podcast now, and it's hosted at SoundCloud, but it has been also linked to iTunes, so it's ready. And I think we'll be meeting with Willie Delpike, who's intern tomorrow. I'll meet with him at 5 o'clock, and I think he is confident that will get it to all the other podcatchers, like Dogcatcher and Podfeed and all these other places where different people grab their feeds from. I think you can do that just by getting SoundCloud and iTunes. So we should be it's up and running. If you search on iTunes, you will find a WEFT podcast.
Is that the one that you're doing now on Monday night?
No, it's so I'll just from the top explain podcasts again.
I know what podcasts are. What is the WEFT podcast?
Yeah.
What is it about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is any show that we decide to have uploaded to the WEFT podcast.
Oh, so it's not a specific podcast about WEFT. It's WEFT, the station, as a podcast.
It's specific shows.
Which we have not decided yet.
Well, there are several that are decided. One is Literary Life, and one is Black Lives Matter, and one is Disability Beat, and but we have to still get the music figured out.
I have to, in order to podcast, you can't use copyrighted music. And so I'm gonna have to change my intro, outro, and the transition.
So the only two that are up there now are Literary Life and Black Lives Matter, and I just wanted to get it going with two of them and make sure everything was smooth and they had procedures and all of that before we tried to, and we can add different shows as we go. And I do intend to add the C Progressive News that I've been reporting. I hope to do Labor Hour, but they either need to not. They either need to be able to cut off their show at the top of an hour, so it's just that amount of they run their show over sometimes to an hour and 20 minutes, sometimes to an hour and 30, and then they fill it in with a syndicated program, which we can't podcast. So Labor Hour really can't easily be podcasts. The other thing that I ask that people do is upload it themselves to a site right now, a Smartsheet thing that then our podcast intern takes it and uploads it, but he doesn't have to go get it off the computer. They have a form to work with. So that's where we're at with podcast. And
This might be a good, are you done with that? Because Bruce is working on another thing for broadcasting all of our programs. Bruce, do you want to step in right now and talk about that for a moment?
There's a organization called Radio Free America.
Oh, good.
And Radio Free America has been in beta for some while and is being used successfully by the folks over in Bloomington, Indiana. And I've traded email over the last few months with the organizers as well as the folks in Bloomington about experience and limits and things like that. It's perfect in several ways for us at this point. One is it's free. Two, it's hands-off. All they do is listen to our stream, and we give them a schedule, and they slice our stream, record our stream, and slice it and post it. So airshifters don't have to do their own posting. We don't have to do anything to massage the shows. If you run over, well, the next show starts with your voice from the previous hour because it's going to cut just the way our recordings do at WEFT. That's the upside. The downside is we can't easily put please send us money intros and extras and things like that onto them. So we might have to figure out a way to embed those in our shows. Yes.
I was going to say, would they be willing to cut those in, cut those out? Like, assuming copyrighted music also winds up in these.
No, these are all. So this is all the music programs.
Okay.
It's not we can do public affairs as well, but it's not anything syndicated that we do. So every music thing that we do, we wouldn't be doing we wouldn't do any overnight Zara, for instance. We wouldn't necessarily do that. On the Radio Free America site, our page, we would have a page. Airshifters could upload a picture if they wish to have a graphic associated with themselves, either a picture of themselves or some other graphic, bio, information about their show. There's a bug up there so you can listen live. There's a chat window so you can see messages from airshifters as well.
I don't know if you explained or it said that it keeps it up there for 2 weeks and then it takes it down automatically. So that's how we stay within copyright allowances.
So it does all that we want done, pretty much. We get 90% of it at no cost. I have no idea how they're going to ever make money on this service. Whether there's something lurking in the weeds, and after they get enough people, they're going to go, okay, now we're going to start laying a commercial tag on the page or something like that. But right now, that stuff's not there. If you want to go to, I can't think of it is, that Bloomington station.
I've got it.
WFHB.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you can go follow their link to Radio Free America, or you can just go to Radio Free America and look at the various stations that are there. I started looking at them last fall, and it's become even more populated and well laid out since that time. So I encourage the board to consider letting us go forward with that. It's a very simple registration process. I would register the station. We would start beta testing, doing some things, and I think we could be pretty fully in swing this summer. I think it would take very little effort on the part of airshifters, other than adhering to the cutting off on the 30s. and Fred and I and Bob would probably be editing schedules and stuff like that to try and make sure it slices and dices appropriately.
I love this. In fact, I had just brought some handouts and that's actually some of the things I was going there. It's maybe redesign our website or whatever. I thought that would be a good model to follow, possibly the WHB. But then I noticed they were doing the Radio Free America thing, and I thought I would just point out this 2-week stream, like puts the shows up there. So like if people miss one, I love that. I love it. I was looking more into it. It looks exactly as he's saying. I really think it looks wonderful. For us.
I like Radio
That's
Free
great.
America.
And people have been asking for it for a
Yeah.
long time.
I like
It's
Radio Free
key.
America.
Yeah.
So it gets us into that market, then we'll have to figure out how to leverage that once we're there. What can we do during our shows, and what can we do on their web pages? And I suspect there'll be a premium service that they'll offer later that will allow us to pay a little bit to add intros and extras or something like that. But right now, it gets us right where we want to go without us buying hardware, buying space on servers, things like that. Now, one thing, with caveat, we can do it right now with the stream that we have. But the stream we have is at the low end of the fidelity of what people do in our market. And so over the next 6 months, we'll want to consider upgrading the recording server and the streaming server so that what goes out of our building over Comcast is probably about 30% better quality, closer to FM quality than what people receive now over the internet. We are at the base level of what people typically do. So they don't have any demands on that. They just, you know, if you're 56K, that's what they do. We're at 96 as I recall. We prefer to be at 128.
Yeah. What will it, any estimates on what that will cost us to increase quality?
Bob was working on the server part of it. So the server part is a several $100 possible investment in software, a couple $100. Then there's labor. And then after that is probably an increase with via streaming of something tens of dollars a month, you know, maybe $10 or $15 a month more than what we're spending now for our streaming service. It's not a huge step. So a couple $100 in capital, and then operating costs might go up, let's say $20 a month to kick it all the way up to 128. We can go higher than that. Via streaming is who offers this service now. We just never pursued it because we didn't have to plan to use it. But now it's something we can consider. It doesn't stop moving to RFA. It will improve the listening experience of those who do listen. Because nothing ever is completely free, as soon as we do that, we'll just want to make sure that Comcast can support that. I believe we can. I've tested our upload speeds and our current upload capability. It should be sufficient to stream at that 30% higher rate. Right now, our stream uses only about 20% of our upload capability per hour. So I think that we're fine to not plan to upgrade. We're at the very basic level for Comcast service for business, and to go up the next notch is a non-trivial amount of money, so we wouldn't want to do that if we could avoid it. So I think RFA is a really good way to go. The folks in Bloomington had very complimentary things to say about our station in addition to RFA. They said, yeah, we like it. It's been terrific. It's been some education for our online staff to get used to what they need to do, but because they need to hit those 30s so that the recording, so when the re-listening happens by somebody, that they actually get the show they're expecting right away, otherwise they'll get confused. And our station helped them get on the air back in the early 80s, late 70s, and they said I think they were listening to you perhaps. They said one of them was driving by sometime in the last 6 months and tuned into, that reminded them of Ulysses or something was being read on the air or something. Some literary thing. He said it was great to turn in a community radio station and you get some science piece of literature.
Yeah, you just never know.
So anyway, that's RFA. A lot of others have looked at it.
I'd like to make a motion that we let Bruce pursue this and include it in our whatever plans we have for our website going forward. I think it's imperative that we have it, and I think it's great that we found that he found it.
I'd second that motion.
Yeah.
Okay. Second by Robert. Any other discussion?
I'm glad we're going to do it.
I just want to say that there probably will be a contrarian out there who will say, I don't want my show on this website. And I think, yeah, well then don't be on the radio.
Exactly. Exactly.
Any other discussion?
That's hard. You're broadcasting.
I know I am. I know I am. They know who they are too. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Bruce, for all your work on this. I think this is a great addition. Okay, anything else from you, Sandra?
What do you want to talk about that meeting then? The Thursday 5:30 meeting is what it looks like it's going to happen with Jay Schubert to act as just give us some free consulting on how we could possibly go forward. Has anybody not read the email? You want me to?
Why don't you go ahead and just summarize
Okay,
it?
so that we have several programs that we're using. One of them is Donor Snap that we just started using most recently.
As a
database of all of our donors and volunteers. It's a way to organize volunteers and donors, and we thought it would work with QuickBooks, but it doesn't, so it's one big advantage, besides that it's a good piece of software that's been, I would say it's pretty good with you, Megan. But it does cost, and then it has to have another email program that it works with. Constant Contact is what we use, although we think we can go to a free one, but we do have one that we're paying for right now. And I came across this other one called Nation Builder, just due to the fact that I was working with Carol Ammon's office manager, and she was telling me about it, that the IMC is moving to it, and they used it in their campaign, and it combines what we would be doing with Donor Snap and an email program into one, plus a hosting program and a website building program. So
What was the name of that, Sandra?
Nation Builder. And I don't know if it's going to be the right thing to do. I haven't checked into it more than just a precursory. But Jay, who has been a longtime donor for WEFT, he's very tech savvy. He's very big into indie media and social justice causes, and would be willing to consult with us to tell us about it, what he knows about it. He's building the IMC website there, helping them develop it. They've been able to get what they feel like is a great website built out for $4,000 using that. And then it's costing them $30 a month. And it includes hosting, and it includes, the donor database and this email blast program. So I asked him when he would be available. He's available. I put a doodle poll out, and the time that Bruce and I and Vicki and Jay, who are the four who've responded to it, have all in common, is this coming Thursday at 5:30.
Okay. Very good.
So I hope that, if you guys have interest in it, in the website, this would be the time to get in on the ground floor thinking about it. We have a tentative goal to have a new website by September, which includes a lot of thinking.
Which, one thing that just really, I was not happy with this past month related to the website was that for the concert that we are sponsoring, that we did sponsor, the speaker that we sponsored that was performing at the IMC, they just pulled our logo off of the website, which is not our logo. It was the blue WEFT FM logo that was on the gray background as on the screen. Not very pretty. So hopefully we can get that fixed. I know, they should have asked, they didn't, they just pulled it off. Because most people have their logos on their website.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of
that's an issue with communication between website people. Now, Bruce is working on the website, I think. Lori Coey is working on the website.
Yeah.
Did
It
you talk
has
to them?
it has less to do with, them not doing it than it has to do with access to certain parts of the website, right? The background, what I am totally ignorant when it comes to doing websites, but the whatever it is, you have to have control of to be able to make those changes.
And that's been a problem since before we had this particular website.
Absolutely,
because we didn't have access, because that's why we had to have this website. It was put up real fast because the one that we had before, which was not even as pretty as this one, which is fairly lame, is
well, anyway, Bruce was definitely.
yeah. So
It's, sorry. I just looked at the page and I didn't realize what you're saying. I didn't quite understand what you were saying about the graphic not being easily grabbed.
Yeah.
but here's the IMC website that you're talking about.
The new one?
I don't know whether this is new or not, but this is the one
Yeah.
they've got now.
It's not, I put a link to it, it's not up, their new one isn't up yet, I put a link to it in that email that I sent out to the board and to Lori Coey and to Bob Plesney and to Bruce and Chelsea and a couple of other people who I could think of who might be interested in it, and, that link was in there.
Okay.
Well, so this just, you're just finding out information about this, but before making definite plans about that, you'd be coming back to us or something like that.
I'm not, I want you to. I want somebody else to. I would really like to move it forward, but I can't be in charge of the
This is a discussion.
Yeah.
We're not making any decisions at this
Oh.
meeting.
No, but anybody who wants to make decisions should be part of, should start, figure out how to be part of the web team or go to a meeting or be the liaison between the board and the web team or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for, on mine I put some links and stuff, but here's the Indiana, like their website. You can see they've got where the Radio Free thing is there, the big donate thing, so they've obviously found a way to integrate this with a new design. So perhaps there's some similar models that we can follow where we don't also have to pay $4,000 plus $30 a month for some service. That maybe there's some other ways we can pull it in.
Do you know who they use?
No, I was
Or what they pay. It'd be interesting to find out.
Madison, I looked at 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. I've looked.
Bloomerang, whatever that is.
Bruce?
Yeah, so the web team, which has been predominantly Bob, Lori, and I in recent months, have looked at ways of changing our web presence on DreamHost versus other options. And part of our research was to figure out whether DreamHost, which gives us free service, is able to support the kind of web presence that WEFT would like to have. So part of the research that we need to do is to see whether we need to find other nonprofits on DreamHost who have a website similar to the Bloomington site to see if it functions, because our website didn't previously. It got too complex for a variety of historical reasons. So we just need to have proof of concept. Can we even do it on DreamHost? If we cannot, then we need to migrate to a paid service. And once we do that, do we also need to then decouple ourselves from one of our big risk factors in the past, which was developing our own website in-house and then having the person who developed it leave town.
Yeah.
And using methodologies and technologies that the remaining people didn't know how to support.
Mm-hmm.
And that's happened twice in the last decade at WEFT, and then it got broken. So there is, we need to look at the dollar issue closely, but there's value in buying it from the provider that you're using, because they are experts in the technology embedded on that server-side operation. So that's part of the research we have to do, is listen to Jay, Thursday, talk about what the experience is, what's the value add of going there, how much is $4,000 because you just threw everything over the wall, or can you meet at $2,000 and say, well, we're gonna do all the content part of editing, and you're gonna just give us the superstructure. So that would be one of the parts of the research. But we do have to know that they can provide the response time that we need to provide the kind of web presence that most people experience today. One of the key issues about our website is it works mobile as well as desktop. Obviously, pros will know how to do that. But it takes a pro. Brian did this because he made sure that we started in an environment so that we can always be able to be read both ways, but it limits severely what we can do on the desktop. You don't, because a lot of sites will have two, and they'll give you a really full-fledged environment on the desktop, and you can trim it down. So I'm going too far.
Yeah, but if you have a website with an app that works, I mean, that would be something to investigate too, so that you can listen and maybe see, skeletal pieces of the website from an app.
if I may.
Sure,
I always
absolutely.
caution about apps. Apps are, it's a shortcut word that not most people on the other side, the users don't quite understand what an app does and how it's built and how expensive it is to support. Because every time a new iPhone comes out, every time a new Android comes out, every time a new OS is revved, you have to change that, recertify it. There's a lot to keeping an app on a phone or mobile device current and continuing to work. And it just grows as more and more releases, because I've got a 4-year-old phone and you've got a 1-year-old phone, and so it's got to work on all of them. So we don't want to go into that without a pretty good idea of what we're going to commit to there. So that's a different thing from the website.
It is a
Yeah.
different thing.
So, but the website thing, I think Lori is interested in participating in this, to some extent. She has her own business that she's running, and so that's the primary thing in her time right now, in addition to the music at WEFT. Then she'll help, and I'm certainly interested in making sure that this is a well-managed project and evolution of the website.
There are, I think there are no guarantees though, because we have in recent years experienced the volunteers managing and then moving on and then having to rebuild from there. Prior to that, we had a professional web server developer that took it and would never answer a phone call. So we could never get anything fixed or repaired or added or changed, and that was an issue.
But there is, you know, a new era of website content management that is so much different than it was 5 years ago, that so many people can, you know, you can learn how to interact to update websites. I mean,
Yeah.
So,
lay people can.
So once we have this meeting with Jay, and then we can cast about within the organization, and broadly, I think that we always have to make sure that we're asking for volunteers from the non-air shifters too. We have a lot of people that are interested in are members of WEFT that don't come into the studio, but would be interested in participating in a web project, for instance, because they have expertise, knowledge, design, editorial skills, whatever. So, you know, we
Let's make sure we put it on the air, call for people.
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So where's that meeting on Thursday?
At
IMC?
No, at WEFT.
Oh, at WEFT, okay. All right, well, that's convenient. All right.
Now, can I tap on something to this? This is a concern.
Is this what regarding the website?
Regarding the website and regarding the rebranding. This is great, and if we decide to do this, this would be wonderful. However, this cannot be tied in with the rebranding. The rebranding is a separate thing, and that has to go through more than just 1 or 2 people or a little bitty committee or the board. It's got to go through, it's got to get more input from everybody, the rebranding of WEFT. And I just wanted to put that out there now so I didn't forget it.
Okay. All right, so we better start that process pretty soon.
You bet.
Well, we can talk about the survey too before we move on.
It's on the agenda. It's on the agenda. So if that's it, except for the survey, then why don't we go to the treasurer's report, which Sandra passed out.
Yay. All right, so you can see a balance sheet that has 2 columns. For some reason, our accountant decided to run a comparison from last year to this year, but you just want to look at the first column, I guess, unless you want to compare it to February of last year. You can do that.
That's in context.
Yeah. And the overall thing that I want to say about the treasurer's report right now is that it's while this is cash flow in and cash flow out is right for February, we still don't have details as to exactly who the money gets attributed to as far as donations right in our accounting program. So if you'll remember, Jeff used to get the checks in the mail. He got the mail. He got all the mail. And then he took it and put it in an accounting program and made the deposits, and it was just a very insular, nobody had any kind of oversight thing. And so he said the reason was because the station manager and he could not coordinate communication well enough, it just wasn't, and it's hard to do, is what I'm saying. I understand why he did it, because it's hard for Megan to communicate to our bookkeeper where this donation comes from, what it gets applied to, with a cash system. I'm saying that right, or accrual system, with an accrual system. You have to invoice so somebody can't just drop off a check for $10 and you put it into donations. You have to create an invoice for $10 for that person. And it has to be kept track of in QuickBooks, and it has to be kept track of in our donor software, and it gets very complicated. And I would say we were underprepared for the pledge drive in terms of organization. We had the sheets, but the way that the deposit slips get conveyed to the bookkeeper anyway, it's been very confusing. We've been behind. We got it caught up to the end of February with only $700 inaccuracy, or $700 in here that they haven't applied to the right customer yet. A lot more in March, and that's why March isn't done here reported to you. But that said, we're moving closer to being able to say that we've made this transition to QuickBooks, which has been, to say the least, difficult, with all the problems with the fact that we couldn't access all the information Jeff had. He had it on an archaic program that nobody had access to. So it's been hard. The next step is to create a system of communication between Megan and Lainey and the bookkeeper that works, and then the step after that is about the budget, and to make sure that our budget we can have a report monthly on our budget, where we're at with meeting the budget that we passed.
And that can simply be done by having another two columns with the budgeted amount and what we've expended to date in the fiscal year. That's the way I've seen it done previously.
Well, we have to get the budget into QuickBooks first.
Yep.
So.
Yep, it's all a process.
It is all a process. And so you have that, and then the other thing that I've given you is just a visual of where our account balance is of today, Monday, April 25th, so that you know that there's money in the bank. And it's not being absconded in any way. And I know that, did you get that $7,000 check, Megan? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it hasn't been deposited yet though, right?
No, I'm going to have it tomorrow.
All right. So we actually have $7,000 more than this, so that's good news.
Did we get that $700-ish check from the Senator Carr donations?
No.
Haven't seen that yet, because I signed those forms and sent them in a
Was it an
couple
additional
weeks ago.
$700 or $7,000 check?
I have to say that this is a heck of a lot better than anything I've ever seen before as far as the budget goes. It's
Well,
easier to read.
and I would
it's
like
easier
to say
understand.
that this part where we see the expenses,
We've never seen that
we've
before.
asked for that for years. Just, what did we bring in and what did we expend in the last month? And, it's even this isn't ideal, because I mean, it'll say, check number 1142 for, $150. Okay, I don't know what that is, but.
Well, you're just looking at probably the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it's
we
a
had-
good start. I mean, it gets you somewhere
it's
where
Well,
you're.
this is the one that I think is better, is the actual profit and loss that shows it actually in total what you spent on everything.
It's all good, Sam.
No, we're just saying that it's nice to see, like, you're doing your own accounts at home, you figure out your budget, there's no precise things, even if you don't have the receipts, but like.
We're trying to
your statement.
compliment you.
Accept it.
No matter how hard that is.
So, with that good news, Vicki, you want to make the next announcement?
I'm not making
Are
any
you gonna give us the bad news?
announcements. That's
Thank you.
coming later, Sandra.
Okay.
All right.
Alright,
Okay.
I'll hold on to it.
All right. So yeah, baby steps.
Okay.
And you worked really hard, and I, for one, appreciate it a lot. So thank you for all your work, and thank you for all your work too. All right, moving on to reports. You have a couple in your packet.
Do you have an extra packet?
There should be one here somewhere. So starting on page 5 is the programming committee report. Barb, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, we did not really approve any proposals because we did not have anybody come into the last meeting to make a proposal. We got some proposals, but we didn't get anybody to present them. And outside of that, we've got some very important vacancies, and we need to find some people who are willing to sub, who are willing to get into particular genres like world music and the courier. Those are the two that are seriously in need. So maybe when we talk about the airshifter training, maybe we can talk about how to get people interested in that.
I have a couple of people who have contacted me who are very, very anxious to get rolling with programming. So this is pretty exciting stuff. One guy who started pizza radio up at the U of I, he wants to have a show on WEFT. I can tell you later about his idea. I had a long conversation with him the other day. So I don't think it's going to be a huge group, but it's a very motivated group, and that's a good thing.
I will say that whole Pete's FM connection is due to going to the U of I, doing those presentations at that class, finding out about it, calling them, Megan contacting them, having, I think you had a coffee with him or something too, or something, and it's been, we're trying, because those are all people who are interested in making radio, and they're broadcasting to, as one guy told me, his mom and his sister, because they could look at his streaming, and they could.
That's the thing about podcasting,
Yeah.
you just never know. One thing that I don't know, your secretary is?
Secretary is Denise, but
She doesn't do computers.
she doesn't do computers, so she's giving me or Lainey notes, and Lainey actually took notes at the last meeting and then wrote them up. And this report is Lainey's notes.
Yeah, it would be helpful, I think, if you didn't have program proposals, if you would note that as no proposals given, even though they were on the agenda, because I found this a little challenging to make heads or tails
Well,
out of.
this is one of the things that Lainey and I just need to communicate better about, and I needed to actually look at this and write it as a report as opposed to just sending you her note. Tell me actually what happened rather than what was on the agenda.
So I think it's kind of hard because Denise took the notes.
Yeah.
And then gave them to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's.
I'm not blaming.
Yeah, no.
Blaming
Since nobody showed up, it was a little less organized than perhaps.
Yeah.
So,
That system might.
Always a work in
We will
progress.
improve the system.
Well, we hope to have some people for you soon.
Oh, yes.
So that would be a good thing. Then there was a music committee report
I
at
did
the
forget
bottom.
one thing.
Yeah.
I did forget one thing. I'm trying to get information about collectives so we'll know who is available for what genre so people can actually know who their teammates are. And we're putting this in smart sheets so we can print it out and put it on the programming board so people will be able to know who to contact and trying to encourage people to contact. And we haven't talked about it yet because I'm having trouble getting more than one meeting a month. But we do want to make sure that the airshifters who are currently on the air actually get trained. The airshifter contract was supposed to help with this, and it's being very slow. So we want to do some, and can I just say that mandatory should not be a bad word. Mandatory is not a four-letter word. We can make stuff mandatory or semi-mandatory or go in and take people one-on-one and smack them upside the head and make people learn stuff.
We discussed at the programming committee possibly for a long time airshifters having somebody from the programming committee sit in on programs and see how things are going and make sure that they know of the airshifter contract, various concerns, and the programming committee is sort of in charge of that stuff. So we're trying to think of ways to take some reins in on some of the laissez-faire activity we've had with some of the airship teams. So it's a matter of making sure that everybody is up to date with training on various things. And if there's any, not just go in and ridicule people, but just to see if there's concerns, if there's board usage, concerns that need to be addressed. So it's a potential.
People are still not doing the logs right.
Yeah, just little things. Yeah, like the
quality
log.
control, basically.
Yeah, just to see if there's problems, why there are problems, and how to get past them.
Because, people are busy, and they come in and they do their show the way that they've always done it, and change takes probably a face-to-face conversation, because they don't have time to read all the
And having an amicable face in there that's not gonna yell at them, but just, to see what's going on.
Practice your smile in the mirror before you talk.
So we had an idea at one point that actually Lori Serv and I were working with on, and that was to have a forum that was just programming issues. That when you heard something, when a board member or programming committee member heard something, that there's a web form to fill out that goes to a private page. It's not anything except for the programming committee to use. But when you hear a programming issue, when whether it's that Zara's playing when it shouldn't be playing, or you hear somebody that never said the station ID, or the other day somebody never introduced their show. They never introduced themselves, they never introduced their show, they just started talking about like something, and there was no introduction. So just to have a place to, the programming committee can do with it what they want. And it's not about tattletaling, it's about the fact that we need to listen to our shows and critique our shows. We need to all be able
That'd be a great
to.
idea.
And I bought a bunch of thumb drives. I was gonna download everything and listen to it. And
No.
that's just not gonna work.
No, that's too much.
But then you
Nobody
can take the
listen
ones
to
that
them.
are problematic and listen to them, and the programming committee can address it instead of trying to, like a shot in the dark.
Right, Bruce?
The folks in Bloomington indicated one of the benefits of using RFA was that the programming committee could just step through every show of the last 2 weeks and audit them and listen wherever they wanted to, and just continuously work on quality control that way, or have the new air shifters be able to listen to themselves without having to do the thumb drive transfer. But their show is immediately available for review, and he said it was very helpful. Because we all tend to, when we first start, critique ourselves, but I haven't listened to myself very often in the last year, and I should do that. But it's another step. After you've done your show, to go in there, copy it down, and go home. So he said that was a real good, unexpected benefit of using RFA, was everybody was able to self-critique pretty quickly. Because that's the first thing you want to do, is say, programming committee might be considering critiquing. You might want to critique yourself first, and so give folks a couple of months to sort of spin back up to where they thought they were. But we all get into habits.
That reminds me, did you fix the guy with Robert's name on it? Okay.
Yeah.
We were sending to some guy on the East Coast all the email to you.
I have no idea.
He had his email wrong.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah.
going to somebody, he finally, very politely asked me to
Do we
remove
want
it.
links to that programming?
Is that an easy
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
to do?
It's already made and done.
I'm in
Lori and
favor.
I were using it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with you having one more tool to use, for sure.
And we can make sure that the programming people have it so they can.
Yeah, that's the thing. How does the programming committee?
Barb, I can just give her access to that smart sheet. I can give all of you access to it if you want.
I might even have access to it, but.
And just general information about community radio, if anybody's interested, I put this in the WEFT Weekly Essentials a couple weeks ago, but anybody at WEFT can have access to the NFCB listserv, which they send out tons of really good information about the struggles that other community radio stations in the country are going through, about technology, about, web servers, about you name it. They had a recent conversation about profanity on the air that was really interesting, and what counts as profanity, and when does the FCC fine you, and those kinds of things, which I thought was really, beneficial to read, because we've had our incidents too.
things that are on there, could I maybe pull out fun things like that, or interesting facts, like the language, maybe add into our bulletin board?
Yeah.
Did you know?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah, sign up. It's very easy to get on the listserv, you just have to let them know that you're connected to WEFT and they'll approve you because we are members, founding members actually. Just a quick note on the music committee, it does say there, the music committee is working to release a WEFT sessions compilation for the fall pledge drive. I think that will be an awesome addition to
we're working
the
at it,
pledge
trying
drive,
to,
so yeah, that's great. Bruce, you have a long report here. Anything you want to touch on? Yeah, it's great having all the detail for sure. He was crawling under the desk while I was getting ready to do my show today, plugging in surge suppressors.
This will be probably discussed later in the meeting, but I expected to get a quote today from Broadcast Electronics out of Quincy for the power supply, so that I could tell you how much the refurb would cost, instead of just telling you what it cost us a year ago. I didn't get the quote, so all I can say is if we plan for $1,600, that would probably cover the item plus shipping. So if you want to do a not to exceed number or something like that, I can work with that. Otherwise, I'll need to get the quote, send it all to you folks, and have you decide on it after the fact. I apologize, I meant to bring it tonight, but I'm not sure what happened to my guy, but I didn't get a quote.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I did not put that on the agenda, so I think probably we should go forward with a motion in a second to approve that expenditure, because I don't think our equipment budget in the actual budget covers that amount of money.
I would like to make that motion. However, not to exceed what Bruce thinks is excessive.
Yeah, what do you, if we approved, say, $2,000?
Yeah, that would be, well, based on our experience last year, 2,000 would be plenty. I would remind folks, so we lost one of the 4 power supplies at the transmitter. Transmitter can operate at 100% on 3 power supplies, but it makes the other 3 run at 100%, which stresses them. Now, one of those 3 is a new one, of the newer design, so that's good. I will, after you approve this expenditure, go out there and power cycle the transmitter sometime in the next week to see if the power cycle will reset the error condition on the power supply. And if it does, then we don't spend any money. It's unlikely that will fix it. It didn't fix it in the past when we lost the power supply. But that's a step I should take. But I don't want to power cycle it, because that stresses things and it might cause, if we're not going to repair it, then let's just let it run. So if I reboot and it doesn't fix it, then it's a 1-day turnaround to get the part. So I'll schedule downtime for a week from then or something, when we can plan for it at the site, and plan for an hour of downtime, then swap it out. And
Is Bill Taylor going to work with you on that?
He will consult as needed, but I did it last time by myself after he and I consulted on the process. So he's aware of what's going on and had agreed on this approach last time, and I will certainly, before I order, touch base with him again about it. It's unfortunately, it just takes an hour because you have to take the transmitter apart a little bit to get the power supply out and put it back in.
We're a radio station. If we don't have a power supply, if we're not powered up to full capacity, you know.
So you said 2,000, right?
Pardon
So
me?
2,000 you said?
The dollar amount?
Up to.
Yeah, it'll probably cost about $1,450 plus shipping. So we add another 100 to that with insurance. Shipping it to us is very inexpensive because they package it there. Us shipping it back, the insurance on it, we make sure that they get what is eventually, it's a $6,000 power supply, but we're buying a reconditioned one. We have to insure it for the full cost. So it's expensive insurance. I almost drove it back last time.
The way this works, as I understand it, is you have to buy the power supply outright for, like, I don't know, $5,000 or whatever, and then we send them our old one and they credit back.
Exactly.
$3,000.
Yep.
Roughly.
Yeah. They're real good to us. I mean, when we bought that transmitter years ago, we paid for unlimited 24-hour service. You know, they answer the phone normally. This is the billing department though, which isn't the technical department. Technical department, well, you call them in the middle of the night, they're going to be on the phone with you, helping you out. So good operation. We're lucky to have them.
Any questions for Bruce?
So she moved.
Barb moved, the expenditure of $2,000, John seconds, any other discussion?
A couple of things I wanted to ask.
Oh, sure.
About the, so, what about the art thingy, the boneyard,
We've got a motion.
We got a, we're
that's
voting.
what I was asking if we were done with that.
Oh, no, we'll come
gotta
back
vote
to.
first.
Okay, yeah.
Well, yes.
I thought.
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You have our blessing, Bruce. Okay, questions?
Yeah, it's just a little bit earlier than that, that's why I didn't want us to go into it. So like, I think it's great. So I was just wondering, so if you need to attach a proper art wall to the wall to hang panels from, do you know how much money that would cost, or like, gel, the supplies, or?
I haven't looked at it at all. We can jury rig something over there, but I thought it would be nice just to have, you know, that sliding rail that you put the hangers up there with the cables hanging down, and then different artwork can hang at different levels. So you just have permanent cables there. That way, because a couple artists were not trusting the way that we used it for Boneyard for their artwork. I understood that. So that, no cost, no estimate at this point.
Okay, but I think that's a great idea. So, awesome. Also, the faucet thingy. You said you may have to replace the sink faucet. Did you need any funds for that?
We will, when it comes to that. I personally don't like to do plumbing myself. We may have to hire a plumber to swap out or repair the anti-scald device.
Yeah.
And
I've tried to fill my water bottle and just fill scalded
You have to
money.
run it long time.
You know, use the closet.
I don't. I just brought my water now.
So, so we could buy a faucet, a high neck faucet, and then have the plumber install that at the same time to replace or repair the anti-scald device. But that's optional money at this point. I mean, it'd be nice to repair. I think it's sort of a quality of life thing.
It is, to have to drink warm water
So
is
I'm
not
trying
the
to
most
find,
fun
trying to
thing.
find a plumber that's a WEFT listener, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. You can use,
But people don't know that.
people don't realize
We should
that.
put a sign up.
Yeah. Okay, anything else for Bruce?
I want to mention one thing under the IT section of the report, that is the email. Again, DreamHost is our email provider in addition to our web provider. And they have had months-long problems with their servers getting
I have
behind
noticed.
in scanning. They scan each piece of email for spam and or viruses, and they're not keeping up with the throughput. That's what causes the multi-hour delays when we send mail to WEFT or WEFT or whatever. And so this is part of getting free service. We don't have any leverage. They are migrating us to a new server as part of the solution. And so we are crossing our fingers, hoping that that will take care of the slow email delivery. And that will happen any day now, famous IT world, real soon now. So it's up on their webpage as part of the plan. Additionally, they are migrating the web interface, the web-based email interface away from squirrel mail, which very few of you use, but the station manager account, things like
I
that.
have two
Yeah.
accounts and
So
I.
it's going to a new interface, which is a modern interface, not this, I mean, squirrel mail is basically a late 90s email web interface.
Uh-huh.
And so I think one or both of you have looked at it and beta or something, and it's much better. So that should improve. But if we were to move to a new provider, we would probably migrate our mail to that provider as well. Right? So it would be, so we have to think about globally all of our email goo, and part of it would be web. And when we think about that, we have many years of email archives on DreamHost. That's not hard to move, but you would need to move it at that point.
Right.
And then, I do want to acknowledge at this point, if I may, about Bob stepping down as head of the Digital Library Committee, and we are still negotiating, those of us in the Digital Library Committee, negotiating that terrain, who does what things will continue, what things may not continue, and such. And Bob is being a helpful advisor, and he's just doing whatever he can to make sure that we succeed in this transition. He just doesn't want to be in that primary spot right now.
And if anyone deserves to step back for a while, it's Bob. He has done so much, so,
Yeah, I mean, he has built a tremendous amount of the infrastructure upon which we work, and so the successes we have now in many parts of the work that he has done in the past. So, yeah, that's the other thing I want to call out.
Okay. All right. And you got reports from both Lainey and from Megan on what they've been working on over the last month. Any questions for them, or you want to say anything about anything?
On my report at the bottom, I talked about possibly introducing a special projects committee to the works. Definitely something to think about. I've had a lot of airshifters and other volunteers come up with some really awesome ideas, show me a lot of motivation and things that they would be willing to take on as well as part of the group. But those ideas don't always fit into an existing committee or place. And like something they can't just do by themselves. They recruit other people. They're just not sure how to go about it. So introducing something like a special projects committee would basically be a place to voice those ideas, to brainstorm new ideas, and to figure out how to do something and to get it started, and then start on the next thing. So just something to think about for the future.
You don't think it would mostly what you had proposed fit within the PR, like public relations, promotions?
Some of them would. Some of the other ideas that I've had for special projects have been even things like having a mentor high school program throughout the summer for kids who are interested in radio and media and other ways, and how would we even get something like that going. That'd be kind of like in Lee's ballpark, but it may be not something that she's able to do fully. Other people have just general ideas about working with other venues and things in the area and how that would work, and talking with them about underwriting and as well as cross-promoting activities between WEFT and those venues. So I don't know, I just had a lot of stuff come up. It could be PR. A lot of it could go in the PR committee meeting. It's something I'm going to probably start tracking and seeing if they can already fit somewhere, and if they can't, maybe it's something to think about.
Well, whatever you can throw to the PR so we can get people involved. I mean, that's where it seems like all the cross promotion and all that kind of stuff could fit in there. And there's certainly, everybody's got an idea for where we should promote, but they need to come to the PR committee and say, and kind of coordinate it with us. We asked for that link, that link to be filled out for people that had tabling ideas. None.
Nobody.
None. Where we should table this year, we wanted to pick 12, the top 12.
Yeah, but if you don't pick the one they want.
But, Laney went to the record day one, and then we got it was a $320 some fundraiser with a pie in the face thing. So.
And a lot of that was people just dropping us monthly. Some people did pies, but a lot of people were like, I'll buy a pie, here's $30. A lot of making that connection, talking, and they kept throwing money at us.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Gotta have a good talker out
And
there.
did you have any help with that? Did anybody else show up besides the radio?
Robert Kilmer said hi, but Silver Billy was awesome. They met me at the station, they carried everything, it was Silver Billy and me.
It's a big crew.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
they
big
had their
crew.
tables, they had grandmas, and so they were a good group, really supportive.
I would just like to say on this, it wouldn't just be public relations, it seems like it would also be programming committee as well, since if you're developing new programs and trying to get them started, you'd need to go through that. So it seems like this committee, if it is, might maybe a subcommittee or a joint subcommittee, maybe between public relations and programming or something like that.
Because not everybody likes to sit in the committee meeting, but they like to do stuff,
So it helps to have somebody who says, okay, we've got this. And they're the point person, and then can just find random people who don't want to come to the meeting.
Right.
Which reminds me, WEFT Fest, which I don't know whether I'm gonna be involved with or not, but that's something that, when's the next WEFT Fest committee meeting?
We
For the
haven't had
first-
one yet. We
Okay.
did send it out on weekly emails, but there was, people should start emailing Lainey if they are interested in being a part of WebFest or the Fall Pledge Drive Committee
Let's
as
put
well.
something in the WEF Weekly Essentials this
Okay.
week.
Yeah, it was in the
So,
last week, but yeah, I did
Yeah,
this week, so
yeah.
we're gonna, that'll
Just
be
keep
continuously
running
on
it.
You need to put things at the top
Yeah.
if you want the grid.
Just
Yeah.
keep running it.
That's right.
More visual, more
Different fonts.
While we have underwriting in Megan's report, could we talk about the underwriting rotation, just so everybody is familiar with how that's gonna work?
Sure.
Mind. So, besides having just show underwriting, where you're underwriting a single show or two shows or whatever, we're gonna have rotation underwriting, where any show that doesn't have an underwriter needs to read the next one in rotation for people who have paid for it. So rotation underwriting costs more, it costs just approximately $1,000 instead of $500, but they get read in rotation every time there isn't something else already being read. So every show will be doing at least one underwriting announcement. And we're starting out with 10 different ones, so that the same two, we only have 2 paid for right now for constant underwriting. But we're gonna start out with 10, so that it doesn't, you just don't hear Unity Church, blah, 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 over and over and over again. But you will hear them a lot. You'll hear the 10 that we have got going in constant underwriting. Go ahead.
So that means that we've got to make sure that everybody who is an air shifter who doesn't have an underwriter knows about this. How are we gonna do that?
I know. Go
Day
ahead.
sheets and stuff.
Just a little clarification. Is there like a list and like you check off one and we go to the next one? Is that sort of just the basic?
Yeah.
It almost seems like you want to dial on the wall or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's gonna be just a check off, an initial check off that and we're gonna have them all pre-recorded, so on a USB and on the desktop, so that, because, you know, you're not gonna be used to reading that underwriting announcement, so it might be, you can read it if you want, or you can play it, or you can read it or play it,
We
whatever.
need to get that thing that the thumb drives are stuck on better attached to the wall. It keeps falling off because it's just held by those two.
I didn't realize that until yesterday or so. I'll get that.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
It seems like
Yeah.
every time I reach up to get hot flashes, it falls.
You know, if there were only a way that you could have people, they have to read the day sheets and sign them before the microphones work. Then we'd be good.
Bruce, can you do that?
Well, as far as training, I mean, we're well aware that we have to educate people about
Sure.
it, you know,
And that's another slow process.
it's another process, that's for
Yeah.
sure. And it'll be
I'm
in the
just glad my show's so
essentials,
good.
essentials, and it will be something that you should report when you're listening and you hear somebody not do it. Once we implement it, you should let us know who isn't doing it so that we can ask them to do it.
Yeah, but see, now it's seeming like, now you're just gonna encouraging everyone to be spying on everyone. It's putting in some suggestions, okay, but now you're suggesting, oh, now we've got the suggestion box, now you're gonna watch for this, and you're gonna watch for this, and watch for this. I'm getting more and more uncomfortable. The more I'm hearing about that guy, I was okay, but then
My show's like.
Programming committee has to know what people are doing.
I mean, we had
and they
underwriting before,
can't-
but now it's forced rotation, like, it's forced on you, you have to now do it. It might not be totally unrelated to anything you're talking about, anything really your show relates to.
It's underwriting.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, like, we just said,
Underwriting is.
It's how
you
you
said
pay for the
it's supposed to be
station.
on shows
Yeah.
that don't already have related things.
No, underwriting is different.
Oh, I know underwriting, but then
Yeah.
this new other form of
Yeah, but
advertising that we're
But
doing.
that's okay, it would be like, okay, Unity Church, if Women Making Waves didn't have an underwriter, they would read the Unity Church or whatever was next. And we're just gonna have a list of these, and people have, John's Pipe Shop is an underwriter. Now, if John's Pipe Shop was an underwriter for Women Making Waves, I don't smoke a pipe, but I would read it because that's where the underwriting is. The underwriting is different. I mean, I can see when the people were bitching about podcasts, and I don't know how we're going to get any more put in, I can see people bitching about podcasts, because I
Drop-ins.
didn't put them in, drop-ins, I didn't put them in that way. But drop-in podcast, it seems to be sort of, but anyhow, that doesn't make any difference. Underwriting is different. It really is.
And it has to be read because people will be paying for it.
But we've got to make sure that it's understood and that people understand, because I got our theater underwriting for women making waves that I didn't know about, and I almost forgot it, except Regina was there to remind me.
Yeah.
So it is very important.
I think
I got
it'll
the
be
art for both of
easier
mine.
once everybody knows they have to do something every show.
Yeah, mine does, I have, the art theater
Yeah.
for both my shows.
Yeah,
So.
but it's a very, but the thing is, people just have to know, and there are a lot of people who don't read email and don't pay attention to the stuff that's posted up on the walls and stuff. And there's got to be some way to reach those people so they know they have to do it. Otherwise, it's gonna not work.
That's how community radio works.
I have a question. To make sure that they're reading something, I know the emails get lost and mailboxes don't get utilized. Could we have like a binder section or something for each show has their own thing that they grab and they know these are their requirements and they have, these are the underwriters that sponsor me. Like we would put Barb's in her binder and she would say, oh, I have this now. Like, I don't know.
The underwriting book, which may or may not be up to date, is supposed to do that. Because but we would have.
Part of what the
You
operational
coordinate it
law
with the day
as well.
sheet.
I just feel like taking all, like there's all these little, like there's the underwriting binder, there's the
They're all
issue, like,
separate right now.
yeah,
There's
like,
nothing happening.
And then we
yeah,
can all
put everything
do
at
this.
once so they can't say like, oh, I didn't know that one was over on that shelf.
One at a time, please.
You know, I just
Raise
feel
your
like-
hand so you can be recognized.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so, I think that this is also a work in progress, and we will have to educate people about it, and it's not, one of my underwriters is Jet's Pizza. Jet's Pizza is great, has nothing to do with my show. They pay money to WEFT to keep my show and everyone else's show on the air. So I will faithfully read my Jet's Pizza announcement
I do my
every
art
week.
theater. I do my art theater twice a week.
Just so you understand why we're doing that in rotation, is because there are certain, like Cafe Kopi says, I don't want to just underwrite one show. That's great that the blues people know about Cafe Kopi, but now I want the jazz people to know about it. Now I want the public affairs people to know about it. So if you pay a little more, you get a rotation and you get more exposure. So it's just.
And we get more money.
We get more money.
So is there gonna be at least some way to limit the amount that one person of these, say 10, isn't getting played a whole bunch more?
The more we sell, the more.
No, I mean on
more
the same
people.
day, because if you're just supposed to play one, if your show's an underwritten, you're supposed to pick from them. There's some way
No,
that
you
makes
have
sure
it in
it's.
rotation. You play number 1, then the next person plays number 2, the next person plays number 3, up to number 10. And then once we sell number 11, the next person plays number 11. The next person plays number 12. The more we sell, the less often you'll hear it, but we do have a limit to it, but it's pretty damn high.
It seems like the more things that more shows have custom underwriters, the more it sounds like people on this rotation almost have a vested interest in seeing fewer overall direct show underwriters. If that sentence made any sense whatsoever.
People will pick, the underwriters will pick which package they want. Right now, they get a constant, if you want to learn about that.
More info coming as it
it.
gets developed. So let's move on to old business, member election update. I have received no applications for board membership for the member election in June.
What's the final
The
date?
final date is, I think, May 15th, so we still have a couple of weeks. The mailing did get out a day early, so that gave, folks a little extra time to respond.
Well,
You have a comment?
Well, just, in the real world, people need to be recruited to be board members. You don't just send out a mailing to your underwriting. So, all the people who are on this, I have been feeling like, and I wish we would have, had our priorities differently, or got it together differently, but our, I think our advisory committee can be a
Recruitment
a
tool.
recruitment tool for the board. Like, people don't wanna be committed to a board that they don't know enough about, but once they know about the advisory, once they go to the advisory committee meeting and learn a little bit about WEFT, and we see what their, resume is or whatever, it would be a one way.
To recruit them onto the board?
Yeah.
I have encouraged air shifters, though, if you know somebody who might be interested in being a board member, to ask them, you know, make a personal invitation.
I will note that according to the bylaws, it will consist of at least 10 individuals who are neither board members nor associates.
We're not on that topic yet,
Oh,
we're still
okay.
talking
I'm just
about
saying
member
it's-
election.
but when we're
We'll
talking
get to
about
it,
that,
yeah,
It
we'll
cannot
get
be
to it.
WEFT.
So we need to like go out and ask people or remind people to fill out their member election things and remind people to ask people if they're interested.
Well, how about putting it on air too? Should we put it on air?
Yes.
We're
Oh, that,
recruiting
you know, that's a very good idea. I think that's how Mark joined the board ages ago.
It is.
So we need make a
Yeah.
call for,
A
What?
PSA.
A WEFT member election, and I can, well, you can take from the bylaws what people have to put in their statement. It's very simple. Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that.
I that it wasn't on the air, so it should.
Yeah.
we
yeah.
way underutilize our airwaves for
Yeah.
WEFT.
Why don't we do
I mean, just like when we're
that?
recruiting for new,
Yeah, who's gonna do that? Should I, not you, okay, I guess I'll do it, I'll do it. I'll make an announcement, or I'll write an announcement,
If you want to email to me, that's the key.
I'll email it to Megan. All right,
Yeah, that's a
very
good
good,
suggestion.
And when?
great idea. I'll do it by the end of the week. Oh, wait, no, I better do it by Wednesday. I'll do it by Wednesday, I'll put something in the, West Weekly Essentials.
Okay.
So that would be the 27th. Okay. Now we're on Community Advisory Board.
Right.
So we've had some email flying around on that. Mark did send out the statement from the bylaws, which is, God, I need to reprint these with page numbers. It's Article 10, Board Committees on 10.08.
Yep.
And it says, for those of you who don't have your bylaws with you, the advisory committee exists to provide the corporation with a source of information concerning community needs and interests related to station management. The advisory committee will be chaired by a board member and will consist of at least 10 individuals who are neither board members nor associates. Advisory committee members are not required to be members of the corporation. The advisory committee will meet at least twice a year to review corporate activities and make recommendations to the board regarding station management practices and policies. The advisory committee may conduct audience research or use other methods to assist in its achievement of its mission.
So,
Do you have something you wanted to contribute to that?
oh yeah, I've just been doing a lot of work on that. So,
Okay,
so that's a great start. But so there's at least two. So one of the things that we need to decide before we finalize a list of names or anything is exactly how many. So at least two. Do we want it to just be two, or would we prefer to have them meet every like 2 months, basically like 6 times a year or something? I guess what we need to figure out is what we want from them, like what areas, what goals we should give them, what goals we'd like them to have, and then kind of figure out how we would like to make that work within the changes that we've got going on, we've got coming up. And part of that might, if we don't want a ton of input from them, then maybe twice a year is fine. But if we're really interested in getting a lot of community feedback and keeping that kind of energy constant, that feedback constant, then I think it'd be a good idea, say, to meet for them to meet every 2 months. And also we have to figure out some kind of idea about, like I gave them a couple ideas in the email I sent around about some questions like, how long should they meet? Like how much do we want them to discuss? How many topics, how many themes? Are there some general areas that we just want particular feedback from? And we also might want to discuss things that we might anticipate they would want to know about us or from us that might help them with that. because when I'd gone around talking to various people, these are actually some of the things that they had asked. And, because I just thought I'd just get some names, go around, make sure, see if people were interested. And when they was talking to me, they had asked like, so what are, what's the missions or goals, kind of like, how do you see my hope? And that's a totally legitimate question. So, several people very interested, but given that they're the head of organization, they've got a bunch of other people, and they can send out letters or basically commit to us more, but they need to have a little bit more information first, just because they'll be having to field questions in their own areas.
And that's exactly why we put this on the agenda.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we have
yeah.
that conversation. So as far as frequency goes, I mean, it does say at least twice a year. I hesitate to start out with more than that, simply because people are busy. And if you are saying, well, we're going to require you to meet every 2 months, then they may say, I don't have that much time available to me. Twice a year, fine, but we may want to get the group together initially and say, how frequently would you like to meet?
Yeah.
It's your group, and we want your feedback, but we don't want to control them necessarily.
Right.
Yeah, this, honestly, this is really kind of new. It's
It's
kind of been done in the past, but really not really, yeah.
So,
In other words,
yeah.
not successful.
So, yeah, so we can, this can be created however we want, really.
So I made review, so I made, not enough, but I'll hand out a couple of reports to share. I can send them out. They've got links, but I thought maybe more people here. Did I write on one? I probably wrote on one of those in my notes. Sorry for whoever got that one. Who got that one off?
I think we got the one.
No.
We have writing on ours.
On the corner.
Oh, just the corner's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Where am I heading? Oh, my notes on. Okay.
What does this have to do with?
Well,
the
anyway,
advisory board?
yeah. So there, I put the CPB's their guidelines for the advisory, and then this another one. Basically, I put several here to give you an example. And I put one of a public radio, community advisory board, and a community radio to give us another kind of model to figure out how often, say, they met and how that was useful to them. The New York one is a pretty big station. It's going to be public radio, but it's pretty big. So their demands for their advisory board, I don't think, are what we would be best for us. But I'm just trying to provide that there's, like, as Mark was saying, there's a, we can kind of set up what we want. There's kind of a range, but what is that? What do we want?
This is, we're sharing with, this is a question actually I think more for, for anyone who would know, do we have records per se of the old advisory boards, or I should say the attempts thereof?
No, it was very, very informal. It was done by one board member who would get her friends together and have pizza and talk about WEFT. And there were never minutes. There was nothing like that.
Well,
I
now
don't
we know
think
a
there were
few
even
people.
recommendations given to the board.
Yeah, it was simply done because it's required by our bylaws.
Yeah.
And it was
And the
total
CPB at the time.
and the CPB, yeah.
I was going to say, go ahead, Sandra.
I was just thinking about, your idea, about, well, if maybe in there it talks about, maybe they'll use the survey, so it could maybe could be a decent way to use the U of I survey information as well. That's all I was thinking. I tend to agree with not too often, because
And maybe rather than saying we're going to select these 10 people or 12 people or whatever, that we invite people to come. Just have a big group of people that we can talk to about, this is who we are, this is what we would like to see this group develop into, and see who steps forward and says, I'd like to do this.
Can we make announcements on WEFT and have the thing in the WE or?
Well, we can, but I think in order to do that we have to set a time and a place and say, we are serious about doing this and we are wanting community input and make it
Just, okay,
available.
let's set a time and place and say, we're looking for community advisory members, we invite you all to come to this meeting. And just invite everybody.
Well, I don't think inviting everybody necessarily, you put it on the air, but as Sandra said, people will respond to a personal invitation. They're not going to respond to a broadcast.
Well, yeah, but if we do a general invitation and we can get everybody, and then if there are people who are really interested, then those people can, everybody else will drop out, and those people can be the core people to the community advisory board.
And it may, you know, evolve over time, I think.
So one interesting dilemma with it is what happened one time when we did it ties to the survey again. What happened one time when we did a survey and people decided that they wanted democracy now on the air, and the programming committee decided not to put democracy on the air, and it wasn't a binding survey, we just asked people what they want. I mean, it was the controversy of WEFT besides Brandon Hawk. It was a big deal, and it's just, you know, I worry about what we're doing with this survey, even that the U of I is doing, which of course isn't binding to us at all, but what good it did, what are we gonna do with it, you know, and what are we gonna do with the advice that the community advisory board gives us? So how do we both make it relevant? How do we make it relevant? You know, if we're gonna do it, how are we gonna make it relevant, you know?
Well, first, I think personally, we have to, at the very beginning, help them understand who we are and what we do, that we are not going to change our format to, you know, top 40 country music, you know, that's not what community radio is. And if people think that, you know, well, we ought to, you know, air commercials, you know, that probably isn't going to happen either.
Right. I get that.
It does say that the advisory committee can conduct audience research or other methods, so possibly the survey would be folded in there somewhere.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, at least if we're gonna
a way to use it. I think.
Yeah, right. That's what I think too.
But yeah, I agree that we still, that was part of why I wanted us to talk about, like, so if they make recommendations about or programming or about suggestions.
Let's say they want to get rid of strip.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be a big one.
So like, what channel? We don't need an answer, but what channels would we like to put that type of question through? Like, so let's say that they make a recommendation that we get rid of strip and put in individual programs or something. What would we then do in that hypothetical situation? Who would that go to next?
Well, the way I would view it is, I don't think you bring up big issues that you're not already having discussion about. So in my mind, you would take to the advisory board, here are some things that we're concerned about, that we're discussing right now, that we would like your feedback on. Here's what we know, you know, and in your experience in the community, how do you think, you know, in your opinion, what else should we consider regarding this particular issue? So say it's strip programming, you know, I doubt that it will be, but let's use that for an example. You know, here are the things that people think about strip programming. Pro and con, first of all, what is it? And then secondly, what are the pros and cons about that? What do you think? Now, what's your, you know, not let's vote on this right now, but what are your opinions? What do you think about that?
So you're basically saying, if your idea at the CAB, we would go to them with a set of things, so they're not free to bring up concepts or issues of their own.
No, I think they would be free to bring up things.
That would be an autonomous group.
Okay, so then in that situation, let's say they said, we wanted to have strict programming. We would get rid of strict programming.
It's a,
again,
what they're doing is recommending, they're not making any decisions.
Sure, but
they're not a decision-making body. They're an informational and educational type of body that will give us maybe help us in the community, maybe with donations, with all types of different subjects, not just, you know, put something on the air or not put something on the air. That's not their purpose.
Well, I said, well, what if they just brought that up for whatever reason they thought it would be much better for the community if people had their own individual shows and they talked with each other and they all felt bad. So they brought it up. We didn't ask them about it, but they brought it up. So
we can decide whether that's feasible for us or not. And that's what this board does.
I guess, when I have been, going out to the community as you just have and just talking to people about WEFT. So one of the things that I've been trying to do is to figure out like, okay, here we have this community member, Matt Cho. He's a hotshot in Urbana these days. So I met with him to talk to him about WEFT. And, the thing that I tried to do was figure out, first of all, I asked everybody to listen. That was the first thing I did. Do you listen to WEFT? Would you listen to WEFT? Would you listen to WEFT for me for the next couple of weeks? And I kind of teach people how to listen to WEFT. If you tune in one thing, you don't really like it, make sure you tune in a couple hours later because you might hear something entirely different. Blah, blah, blah.
You will.
Exactly. And then, and I saw them as potential community advisory members, potential board members, potential air shifters, and potential donors. So I tried to meet with everybody with that in mind. And know that that's what I think is that no matter what we do with the community, we have to think of everybody as any of those things. You don't know where they're gonna fall into the scope of things, but as we're relating to people, recruiting people for the board, recruiting people to be air shifters, recruiting people to be listeners, recruiting people to be community advisory members, we really don't know which of those they're gonna bite on. But we need to be presenting ourselves in a way that we're engaging with them at whatever level we can. Volunteers in there, not just the air shifters, other volunteers too is in that mix too. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't think we really know what we want a community advisory board to do, but it's a way to relate to people, to get them in, to hear about WEFT and get them, say, would you listen to WEFT and then would you come and talk to us about it?
And on the other hand, it's a good way to get, we're a pretty insular group here. And to get other people to come in and say, I listen to your radio station, and this is kind of what I'm thinking. People aren't going to come in, I don't think, and say, I demand that you do, X, Y,
No,
Z.
I mean, I was trying to think of like hypothetical, like, I don't know, just a situation just to set up an instance that we could try to figure
Right.
out.
They're gonna understand that that's not their purpose.
Because, I mean, I would never be in favor of them getting rid of
The name
it.
of the thing is advisory.
Right, I just
advise.
want to make sure we're kind of on the same page as far as everything it is.
One at a time, please, yes.
Well, I was also just thinking that what you're going to find out most, what I found out most by talking to people, is that people don't listen to WEFT. That's what you're going to mostly find out. It's sad, but it's true. Oh, I used to listen to WEFT. Oh, I know, whatever. So that to grab.
But we need to draw them in.
I actually had an experience. I was at Walgreens getting my tea tonight, and the guy at the cash register, because I go every Wednesday night, he says, I got off work at 10 o'clock and I was driving home and I heard your voice. Now, he doesn't know my name and just recognized my voice, which always scares me.
So do we want to think about a target date?
Yeah, I think that would help, give an idea for the people too, so they can know if they have to talk to their like people in their organization who might want to volunteer or be interested. That gives them a little bit of time.
Sure.
And something to plan for us, that kind of thing, even for us, so we can make sure on our end, and then they can figure out their stuff. And
Do we want to wait as late as, early fall? Or do you want to do something in the summertime?
Summertime's hard, a lot of people are gone.
That's what I'm thinking.
Vacations and all that kind of stuff, kids are out of school.
Yeah.
We really need to go in the fall when people are back to doing their thing.
Then we have the fall first.
And then we got WEFT Fest, and
so when does the pledge drive start? What month?
September.
Okay, it's September. So then we want to maybe aim for August then, perhaps, because this would be right before. And if we get them kind of involved already, then they'll be already invested before the fundraising and stuff.
Maybe toward the end of August,
That'd be
possibly,
fine, but, yeah.
so that we're doing it before things really kick into high gear.
Semester starts August 22nd, I think.
Uh-huh.
I think. I was looking at the academic calendar for work the other day.
That would be, starting it right when school starts would be a good thing, because then nobody's had time to plan stuff.
Yeah, we'll do a quad day. We'll have some kind of way to early on to kind of let them know about us. So they'll be basically seeing WEFT kind of pop up a little bit, lots of other places, and they'll be able to talk and computing. Because some of the folks I talked to were some of the La Casa and some of the other student related, but also community related groups. So that would kind of
What is
like, they've been talking to me about a little bit more.
So
and
is
then-
it August
Kind of building up to hype.
twenty-second
When does
is
it
when
start?
classes
22nd
begin?
of
Is that what you
Sorry, I
said?
was looking at it.
Andrew said?
22nd of August starts the semester.
22nd of August, so we wanted to do it before that or after that?
I'd do it a week after personally.
A week
That
after?
first formal move-in date, you're fine.
We don't have a date
Spring.
set for the fall pledge drive yet, right?
Right,
No, well, it will be September for sure, because we want to have it completed by the end of September. So it'll be toward the beginning of September, but we do need to set that. So we could do, not to conflict with any other meetings, we could do the 30th or the 31st of August, which is a Tuesday or Wednesday. That would not conflict with PC, right?
I don't think so.
Second or fourth Wednesday,
That's fine.
or Tuesday. So shall we say the 30th?
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay?
Great.
And so I suggest that we do it at WEFT.
Yeah, okay.
Why not bring
At
people
least the first
in?
meeting
Yeah.
initially, because they might wanna get the idea
Yeah.
of what they're meeting about, what
Sure.
the, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they actually see the station, see what's going
Yes.
on,
Those
seats
discs,
we've
they
got,
just-
yeah,
First time I saw that, I go,
yeah.
Okay.
oh,
You came during WEFT.
So in the meantime, we'll talk to people, let people know that this is gonna be happening, and you can make your connections with people that you know, and at some point, and I don't know when, I'll develop some kind of an invitation thing, a formal invitation that we can send out.
What time are we
To
planning on
people.
doing it, about 7?
7 o'clock, yeah. What do you think?
That's
7
fine,
o'clock?
that's fine, I just would ask that everybody kind of handwrite an invitation, you make your invitation and then
A
handwrite it.
format, yeah,
Yeah, for the,
okay.
yeah,
we'll have a.
sure, that sounds good, okay. We don't need to vote on that, do we? We don't have to vote on the date, okay, very good, moving on, and you're gonna have to leave for that one. Okay, building use contract, is there anything on that yet? No, nothing, moving on. Recording and webcasting board meetings, we're doing it,
Yeah,
so, yeah,
I'd like to make a motion,
okay,
because we need an official recorder. Okay, Andy's gonna do the recording, so I'd like to make a motion that Andy become the official recorder. And since the Open Meeting Act provide for recording of open meetings, not closed.
Right.
Okay, that on a monthly basis at the board meeting, Andy sets up her little computer and streams our meeting. So I'd like to make a motion,
I'll second
since
that
she's
motion.
gonna do it, we might as well make it official.
Yeah.
And the rules are that she'll start it at the beginning and close it off at the end, and no
Or if
changes,
we
no
don't use-
editing, no,
Yeah.
nothing of that sort, just
Right.
plain
We'll
conversation
shut it off
of the
when we go
board
into
out
closed
to the
session.
WEFTO and to the YouTube and whoever wants to watch it. And maybe we'll go viral.
Second.
Yeah, I think we'll go by.
You know what, you have all these people come in, I wanna join that board, my God, they are fantastic, holy moly!
Now, Kurt sounds
Okay,
awesome.
I need a
Yeah.
motion, do I hear a second? Second from Andrew, any other discussion?
You have another reason to plug your show. You should come up at the meeting.
Here's my only concern is that if Andy's not here, no one is gonna be able to do it.
My thing would record, but I think plenty of us have recording devices.
Okay, so you'll work with whoever it is.
What I'm using is OBS, it's open broadcast software, so it's free and it runs, doesn't take very
Okay.
much.
Android?
So we got it covered then, you'll
Open
figure that out.
broadcasting software.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on. Officer resignation and replacement.
Who resigned?
Sandra.
Yeah,
You resigned?
as treasurer.
Oh, it's treasurer?
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Officer
Well,
resignation.
you do the nice thing, is
You
this
know,
your,
and
is this
I
your
must
farewell?
say-
Is that
No,
what
I
this is?
will be here next month with the final report with the budget,
Okay.
and the work done to do any transition. I'm not gonna leave anybody in a hard place, but it is not my cup of tea. It's
Okay.
just work.
And she's putting
Okay.
in boatloads of hours, just.
I don't think you're gonna have to put in boatloads of hours as a treasurer. I know other treasurers haven't in the past. But, the transition's been difficult, but I don't intend to lay the transition on somebody. I just wanna give you heads up that
So this
that once I get the budget done and get everything in QuickBooks working, I'm not gonna be the treasurer anymore.
So are you giving us a month's notice? Okay,
I
so
am.
we don't have to elect somebody else.
You should elect
Should I?
somebody if you can, because I will do next month, but they should be,
Watching you.
they should be familiarizing themselves.
So that would be up to, since we have 3 people who are already officers, and now Andy's got a role too, that would be Barb, John, Andrew, or Robert.
Andrew, would you be down with that? I
I
think
don't
that's
like overcommitting and not
Then- that's fine.
Oh, just think about how.
I've actually mentioned it because I just know that you, when we have done business units before, you have been very ethical. You have been like over the top, like setting down the lines, doing everything just by. So I'm saying is, you're just, so that's why I just bring it up.
Maybe we
But,
should, maybe you can show me what exactly is required.
Sandra has it. I can see the fog rolling
Testing
across
the waters.
Sandra's eyes here.
No, I want to know what I'm getting into.
Somebody who knows some
Yeah,
finance. We can't just pick anybody out of the
Yeah,
chair
the
because they're not
problem
doing
is,
something else.
Don had, financial training.
Okay.
Sandra has taken this over and done and worked with all of this, but the people who are left who do not have,
Financial background.
already rolled, don't have any financial experience. Now, keeping good financial records is one thing, but I can't do math. I'm lucky to be able to balance my
You look at,
checkbook,
I
and
look
I
at
don't
me,
understand
it'll be
this stuff.
Chinese, you wouldn't know what a read was or I was just kidding. All right.
Can somebody take notes from Mark? He's gotta go pick up our daughter.
Yeah, I gotta
Well,
go
you just
too. I
bring it
gotta
back
go
here.
also since we're at the end of the meeting almost.
yeah, I
I'll give
don't
you
think we
my
should put
keys.
someone on the spot then. You're not even sure if you want to, you may just
I
look
don't-
at it, maybe it doesn't work for you, that's fine.
That's.
So I don't really wanna make someone, I will withdraw that then, because I don't wanna make someone
The thing also is,
forced.
I know you are kind of burning out on this, and you have the experience for it. I don't know how long I have this.
Okay,
I'm not.
Good night, all.
So, tonight,
Wednesday night, you better listen, damn it.
so let's decide the next month's meeting then?
I want it to go viral.
Let's decide this, next month's meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who do you
Snake.
want to do it?
So is Dawn gonna, do you think Dawn would reconsider?
Like, give it
Don would be like,
Don's giving up.
Just in case.
Yeah,
6 months out of the state.
yeah, he's done.
Yeah,
At least we get a while.
he's literally going out into the woods, correct?
Who's
Well,
gonna
Al
take
just left.
minutes?
Let's
Mark
make Al something
said while
else.
he's gone, will you take minutes?
Sure.
Just take over where he left off? Okay, thank you, Barb. Barb's gonna do it for you. All right.
You're gonna be elected.
I'm just
In the room, you get elected.
Maybe I can drag it onto
Where'd
it.
You don't have to do it tonight, but
Where'd
just
Al
keep
go?
it.
He left.
He
He
left.
had to go.
He said he had a life.
So,
Okay.
Let's finish this
I think
baby.
it was just when kids.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, so we decided that we will just discuss the treasurer thing more in depth next month. Hopefully there might have been something that will have happened in the interim either, but,
Bruce, you have a
you got a
comment?
suggestion?
I'm sorry, just that we do have the election coming up. And if you focus on recruiting
The
a
treasurer.
treasurer,
Oh, yeah.
maybe,
good point.
maybe you could find somebody who
Maybe
has
we could add that
the
sort of
skills.
PSA stuff, say,
Yeah.
maybe, you know,
If you could hold out until then,
that we really, WEFT really needs a treasurer.
Or work
Anybody
with
think
Andrew
that-
to take over on a temporary basis.
Very temporary.
I think that's actually a good idea, and there's already gonna be the PSA about, the next
Yeah.
board member meeting, so maybe if we added on to that, we are looking for a treasurer. That's a great way, like, if you really wanna change things, all right, not just any old board member, you can be like a treasurer, you can actually put your experience to use
Well,
directly.
we'd still
You know?
have to elect them, but
Yeah.
yeah.
What I'm saying is, like,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, if you, as I said, if you have the experience, this is
Sure.
a way that you could put that, which you may not think of, like, managing the books being like compatible with radio stuff, like maybe you didn't think of yourself as like having a skill that you could offer to other people, but maybe you're like, well, I'm really good with that kind of thing. I've been doing that professionally in some manner, like maybe that can encourage someone to get on the board.
Okay,
Or try to just put their names up before being on the board.
all right, okay. Are you okay with that, Sandra?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, so U of I survey is next.
Well,
I sent the link out.
yeah.
Couple people took the survey.
I did get, so what I think is that the U of I is gonna give us some lamey thing, that's what I think. But I think that we can,
Laney,
lamey.
not Laney.
Not Laney. I worked with another group a while ago, and they're, they just, I think the raw data will be our thing, that'd be good, is the raw data. Not what they come up with is what they think WEFT should do.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be interesting. It was interesting the last group that I went and listened to. I got some good ideas, one or two, So I persuaded them to keep the link up longer than they're going to be using it and give us that raw data, I think up until at least May 6th at least, but I'm
So we don't have access to it until they give it to us, correct?
Yeah, because it's their website,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's just that we have a link to it.
Once we have the survey, we can use that as a template not to put this on anybody else, but we are already discussing upgrading the website and whatnot. If we could have an on-site survey for people to go to.
Well, how Wart's done it is, you push it for a period of time, and you don't have it ongoing. You have it where you gather it and then you use it, So that's what we have to kind of figure out.
Do we need an announcement to put up in the booth to drive people to that survey?
We're gonna have that.
Put that down on the action items.
Megan and Bruce are getting that because we've got that worked out. It'll be it's on the website now. We're making and you'll do that tomorrow.
It's out in the studio,
Okay.
We'll put an announcement in the board.
In the
How
bulletin board.
often between that one and then the member election do you want me to request, or for people to read it, or are you just gonna put it on the bulletin board?
Once per show.
Once per show.
Once per show for each of them.
Yeah. So what I want them to do is to let it up even longer than that. Like, can I ask them, I want to ask the U of I, can we keep it up for a month? And then you give us the raw data right before you graduate or whatever. Like, keep it up as long as you can. I'll ask the professor, could you give me the raw data if we keep it up longer? You can use your data. We've done this for you. We've met with you all these times. And you can use the data, and we'll come to your presentation and have the students present to you. But you keep the website up longer so that we can use that data how we want to use it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so too.
And the only problem I have with the survey is that people could fill it out as many times as they wanted. There's no unique identifier on it. And I asked them to do that, and they said that they didn't want to do it because they wanted it to be anonymous, and instead of using your email address, which is typical. So if we really want to be particular about it and have a survey and make it so you can only say it one time, then we're going to have to do it ourselves.
Yeah, because I noted that you could go in multiple times if you wanted to. Because I filled out the survey and then I clicked on the link again and you could go right back in and do the whole thing over.
People probably wouldn't unless they knew we were going to use it.
Yeah.
And if they knew we were going to use it, they would load it to what they wanted. Like, that could happen. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's a cookie issue though, so you don't have to use email. You can, the survey can drop a little cookie on your computer when you use it, so it knows if you responded to that one already. Now, you can turn that facility off if you're smart about using a web browser, but there's a way to do it with still being anonymous, and a lot of people do that. So, there's a way in the future to get around that. I don't know why I was surprised in this case that they did.
Yeah, it's not
It's a
going
free
to be a
service,
critical thing. I don't think it's going to be a critical thing because it's not like we're voting on something. It's suggestions. And so we'll hopefully learn something of value.
So would you propose that we just go ahead with it? I'll ask them to leave it up as long as they'll let me leave it up. We'll take the data, do with it what we want. Maybe not, probably nothing. We'll give it to the programming committee to look at.
It just
But then
might
when
be educational.
But then when we wanna do one,
Same thing with the hard copy, do you think that will we be able to, in an amended version, but would they, you know, can we use that after they're done with it? Just to, because we might
the
wanna,
questions?
yeah, exactly, the format of the questions, we can, you know, if we, I think that's one of the, sort of the somewhat sort of valuable things that might come on, is just a rough survey that we can in the future use.
Sure, there are other, like Qualtrics and SurveyMonkey also have free aspects and they're very customizable for questions. So,
Yeah.
sure, if we've at least got the questions.
Well, we've already got it sitting there,
No, I'm saying
somebody's
it's-
thought about it, you know.
Right, but I'm saying
with
if
the
we have to
tool.
move it onto something else, we could, for both the services, even more so for Qualtrics, just copy and paste the existing
Yeah.
questions, at least that we liked, at least migrate
Yeah,
that.
personally, I think probably if we put it together, we could probably have a better survey than.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
okay, but
It was
the nice thing about it was demographic information, which I think
Yeah.
we've never gathered.
No, it's a good place to start. Yeah.
Sure, but say it's like Qualtrics or SurveyMonkey can also do like
Get out. Anything else on that? Moving on then to fundraising, and Sandra and Kevin are having a house concert on what date?
May 5th. I said the wrong date on air tonight. If anybody was listening, Kevin was madly texting me. The poster's made, I just emailed it to you too, Coach just finished it. And it's one. So just wanna tell everybody what the overarching concept is it's the fundraiser fundraiser, that it's not necessarily people, we're not gonna, if you have a friend who has a big house and has a cause that they would like to fundraise for instance, I always use the Humane Society as an example. You have a friend who loves the Humane Society. Say, you know what, WEFT will do a fundraiser for you if you invite your friends over for that fundraiser. And WEFT will invite all your Humane Society friends over to your house, and WEFT will provide the music and the promotion on air. We don't even need on-air promotion necessarily. If they invite their friends, they just do an invite, that they make a Facebook event or whatever. So they don't have strangers in their house. They can just invite people that they want in their house. And we provide the music, we split the pot.
So you're making a poster, so you're inviting strangers.
I am. I'm doing it differently because we're having an out-of-town musician who is coming through doing a house concert for us anyway. He's a traveling musician.
Who is it?
I think his name is Rupert Waits. I think most people will be drawing from our list of local musicians that we're gonna have to put together and recruit. And we'll be just matching them up with somebody who has a house and a cause and trying to make it routine, that we get in the habit of doing this every month.
We know some people who are coming to do a house concert for some guy from Fruition already. It's, I can't remember his name off the top of my
We
head.
should probably talk to Connie Hosier, she could do a ballet thing, because she's big on the ballet.
There you go.
Yeah, and they have a big house.
They do. When I told her about it, actually, she was to help me kind of conceptualize it. She was like, I'm not sure I just want every WEFT that walks through, at my house, because she's like, I don't know people, and I was like, I get it, let's do it this way instead.
Yeah.
And she was very much open to that.
Yeah,
So,
I'll work on her.
yeah, good.
Okay, very good.
sorry,
Sure.
we didn't do my report, so I have a quick question.
Oh, I thought you guys said you have anything to add with your report.
Okay, so what's your question?
What's your question?
Tom Hunter asked us to look into Quad Day this year.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm asking is because there's only 3 nonprofit organization community spots available left, when I called today. So it is $28 for the spot, but they provide the tables.
Let's do it.
Do
Do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime we can get out there, we get out there.
Yeah.
Both
I've
are
been out
information.
there a lot more.
Quad Day is fun.
Yeah.
It is.
It is fun. We need to
Unless-
get,
unless-
no, you guys out there, the young people.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I think,
Motion to
we are
adjourn.
past our agenda, we've gotten through everything.